I'm a 39-year-old millennial, and I don't know if I'll ever actually retire. I mean, I don't trust that the government is going to have any money left for me by the time I get to retirement age. I mean, I don't think that there's going to be enough Social Security or whatever they're going to call it at that time to be able to get enough money to even pay my basic bills. And I say that time because what is it really going to be? I mean, if it's around 62 right now, what is it going to be that by the time people my age retire? Is it going to be 70, 75, 80? I mean, there's no guarantee that you'll even make it that long. Unfortunately, things have been so expensive since the time I left college that I haven't been able to afford to save up money to buy a house. So I might not even have a house that I can sell and then use that money to enjoy my retirement when the time comes. And as far as investing goes, I was set way back by a financial advisor that I thought I could trust, someone I knew since middle school, who completely messed up all of my retirement savings. I was investing some money each paycheck, but I trusted my advisor too much, and I now, instead of having a lot of money saved up, have basically nothing or just pennies, because the investments that he made, well, half of them lost money and the other half just made a little bit. So I don't have much to show even after investing in the stock market for about 15 years. Since then, I've taken more responsibility and more control of my finances and moved everything away from the company that he works for. I mean, he cared so little about me that he actually moved my account on to another person and then another person as he climbed up the corporate ladder. And now he's like a major executive, or at least running a region. He's a regional manager, if you will, and I'm stuck with these lost years of not contributing to my retirement. So I'm not extremely confident that I'm ever going to be able to retire. All I can hope to do is continue working hard and try to make as much money as possible. And now that my investments for retirement make a lot more sense, are more organized, and are more likely to actually bring me money as opposed to lose money every year, the only thing I can hope for is that I make enough money to put into those retirement savings so that one day the investments that I make, not any sort of government assistance, can help me retire. And unfortunately, I'm not alone in this scenario. So today I want to talk about an article I found on CNBC. And as always, the articles I mention are listed down in the description below, so you can read the whole thing for yourself. I'm just going to talk about the highlights and how it pertains to what we're talking about today. And the headline is, Why Millennials' Retirement Outlook May Be Worse Than Those of Older Generations. Let's dive in. The article starts by saying that millennials' retirement prospects seem rockier than those of older generations of Americans. And that's largely a function of long-term policy changes, such as later age for full Social Security benefits and a shift to 401k type plans, longer average lifespans, and a bigger student debt burden relative to cohorts such as Generation X and baby boomers, according to retirement experts. Millennials, a cohort born from 1981 to 1996, are the nation's largest adult generation. They'll be 28 to 43 years old this year. By comparison, individuals in Gen X were born from 1965 to 1980, and baby boomers from 1946 to 1964. About 38% of early millennials, those born in the 1980s, will have inadequate retirement income at age 70, according to the projections from a 2022 Urban Institute study. By comparison, 28% to 30% of early and late boomers and 35% of early Gen Xers are projected to have inadequate income, according to the study. It measures income from Social Security, other government cash benefits, earnings, pensions, and 401k type plans. Pensions, what are those? I mean, yes, it would be nice if we were still in a generation where we had pensions, you just work for a company and they treated you fairly and you could work there 20, 30 years and retire. Now, the only way I think you get any kind of pension is joining the military, right? And if you don't want to put your life on the line for wars and conflicts that you don't believe in, then you're kind of stuck without the option of a pension these days. And with the 401k, I mean, it's nice when they automatically sign you up, and it's even nicer when they match your investments. But not all companies are like that. Some just offer the 401k, and you could either opt in or opt out. But it would be nice if most companies, if we're not going to do pensions, at least offer the 401k and opt you in, so it kind of forces you to start saving for retirement. We do not see the retirement outlook deteriorating for your future generations, including millennials, said Richard Johnson. The Urban Study measures income inadequacy in two ways: either an inability to replace at least 75% of one's pre-retirement earnings, i.e. a decline in living standards, or income that falls in the bottom quarter of the annual U.S. average wage, i.e. not being able to meet basic needs. It assumes all cohorts will get full Social Security benefits under current law. A 2021 paper by the Center of Retirement Research at Boston College had similar findings. While millennials resemble boomers and Gen Xers in many ways, they have comparable homeownership, marriage rates, and labor market experience at similar ages. For example, they're well behind on total wealth accumulation, CRR said. For example, millennials aged 34 to 38 have a net wealth to income ratio of 70%, much lower than the 110% and 82% of Gen X and late boomers, respectively, when they were the same age, according to its report. Likewise, net wealth for 31 to 34-year-olds is 53% of their annual income versus 76% and 59% for similarly aged Gen Xers and boomers, respectively. The primary reason for the wealth gap: student loans, CRR found. More than 42% of millennials aged 25 to 36 have student debt versus 24% of Gen Xers at the same age, according to a 2021 Employee Benefit Research Institute study. Household wealth for the typical millennial household was about 3/4 that of Gen X at the same ages, $23,130 versus $32,359 respectively. Despite millennials having more home equity and larger 401k balances, EBRI found, student loans are really taking a dent out of millennials' net worth. It's unclear how they will play out in the long run. To that point, 58% of millennials say that debt is a headwind to savings for retirement, compared with 34% of boomers, for example, according to an annual poll by the Transamerica Center for Retirement Studies. Why pensions provided more security. Millennials have other disadvantages compared with older generations. For one, longer lifespans mean they must stretch their savings over more years. Out-of-pocket healthcare costs and those for services such as long-term care have spiked, and they're more likely to have children at later ages, experts said. Further, while older workers with access to workplace retirement plans relied on pension incomes, workers today, especially those in the private sector, largely have 401k type plans. Pensions started to go away in the mid-90s, when Gen Xers were just starting in the workforce and millennials were still in grade school. Pensions give a guaranteed income stream for life, with contributions, investing, and payouts managed by employers. A 401k plan offloads that responsibility onto workers, who may be ill-equipped to manage it. In 2020, 12 million private sector workers were actively participating in pensions, while 85 million did so in a 401k type plan. While workers can potentially amass a larger nest egg with a 401k, the big issue is that benefits don't accrue automatically, as with a pension. The old pension system didn't work for everyone, but it did provide more security than a 401k system does today. Meanwhile, the last major Social Security overhaul, in 1983, gradually raised the program's full retirement age to 67 years old. This is the age at which people born in 1960 or later can get 100% of their earned benefits. That increase from age 65 delivers an effective 13% benefit cut for affected workers, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. Congress may deliver more benefit cuts to shore up Social Security's shaky financial footing. Such reductions would likely affect younger generations. So like I said, I'm a 39-year-old millennial who isn't very confident that I'll ever be able to retire. God willing, I'll be able to invest properly and amass enough income just by investing in the stock market in various ways to be able to retire one day, but that's not a guarantee either. Also, hopefully, I retire at such an age in which the stock market is doing relatively well so that my investments have increased to a nice level and not completely plummet. But let me know your thoughts on retirement. Do you think you'll have enough Social Security income coming in that you'll be able to retire just off of government assistance? Do you think that your investments are in a good shape so that you'll be able to retire based off of the stock market investments you made? Or have you been fortunate enough to buy a house and if push comes to shove, you could just sell that for additional income in retirement? I'd love to hear about your current situation and your plans for retirement down in the comments below. Talk to you later.